Hello, welcome to my channel Conscious Growing. I'm Matthias. So it has been a while since I made a last video in German and in English, and yeah, I needed some time to let things down and deepen my understanding of recovery, and I made lots of progress on my path and lots of new understanding, and this latest understanding I want to share here in this video. And for all of those of you who don't know my channel, I'm making videos about chronic symptoms, anxiety, and so my personal background was a corona infection about 2 years ago, and I was very sick afterwards, had a whole bunch of symptoms, severe symptoms, um, around 20 or 30 at my worst. And since then, I'm slowly recovering. And I also want to mention that I'm not a medical professional, so everything I share here is just based on my own observations and discoveries. And these discoveries I want to share here. And today's topic is anxiety, and why do we experience anxiety on this path. And first of all, it's really important because my specific topic was, my issue was the corona infection, and then what people usually call long COVID. And I had all kind of attempts to get rid of these symptoms, of course. And at a certain point I realized nothing is really helping, no treatment, no way of trying to get rid of is really helping. And so my discovery was that this is a hypersensitive nervous system issue, and I was in a constant alarm, and that constant alarm caused lots of symptoms. And so it's very important to get one thing right. There were many people in the beginning of the pandemic who died because of corona, and they had specific damages in their body. Many people suffered from lung difficulties, infections of the lungs, and also there were some organs damaged, and that's why people died, or this is one of the reasons people died. And of course, this is something that happened and something we can't ignore. But what I'm talking about is if you have survived this severe state and then you had some uh, some checkups with your doctors, and you found out that there's nothing wrong with you and that all tests you made come back normal, but you still suffered from, or you still suffer from weird symptoms. And if that's the case, it's quite likely that all you're experiencing is a hypersensitive nervous system. And I've spoken a lot about this in my videos. And I want to break it down to on a very simple level today. And because this is my observation, and this is what I have picked up in exchange with others, is that the state we are in, so this hyper alert nervous system, is causing an anxiety. And why is that? It's because, very easy described, we all have a certain threshold in our lives, stress we can bear, and if we come to the limit of this threshold, then it easily happens, or in most and many cases it happens, that the system kinds of shutdowns and brings us in a survival mode, or even in a freeze mode. And around Corona, as we all know, there was lots of fear around. When it came, we saw the horrific pictures and videos on the internet and in the news and so on. And we were all scared, of course. It was the unknown, and nobody knew how would it go for me if I'm infected and so on. And that was already some thought of a base anxiety for most of us. And then, of course, your whole life and the way you respond to triggers plays a huge role here. And when we have these triggers, and now on top of an infection maybe, then we're kind of falling over the edge. And the body just does what it has to do. It wants to save us. It wants to, first it wants to warn us, and it wants to save us. And the body and the system and the brain specifically is sending messages of alarm. And when we stay in this example of the COVID infection, so you end up in this alarm. I ended up in this alarm state. I survived Corona, I survived the infection, and there were no other things going on. I was checked by my doctors and so on, but still the symptoms. So I found out that I was still in this high alert state. So in other words, my scared brain still wanted to protect me from the threat, and it was so much in a high alert state that it wasn't able to see that the war, so to speak, was over. And so it was still sending these alarm signals to my body. So everything was sensitized, everything was alert, more than natural, and everything I experienced was exaggerated, and it was so much stronger. So when you're so sensitized, your emotions are much, much stronger, and everything you sense is much stronger. And then you can't think so well because you're so high alert. So it influences everything. And what's your impression? The impression is, oh, I'm totally out of order. There's something severely wrong with me. I'm not even sure if I can survive this. This feels so severe. And being in this state, and having no clue why we end up in this state, we are digging ourselves deeper in this kind of rabbit hole of fear and continuing to recoil in fear and responding on our symptoms with unhealthy thought patterns, worries, what if thoughts, and all this kind of stuff. And so we dig ourselves deeper in this kind of trouble. And there's always a connection between the nervous system and the way we think and also the way we behave. And now here's the point. If we are scared of the state we are in, it's quite likely that we are fueling the fire and continuing putting these kind of thoughts, these negative thoughts, these scared thoughts, and then usually our thoughts go to the future and we say, I probably will never get better. I don't see any way out of it. It feels so severe. What can I do? And even when you get some ideas and you get some help and then you see, okay, this is just the nervous system, this can be a turning point, but then there's still some work to do to convince this scared brain that wants to protect us, to convince that we are not in trouble anymore. And this is an ongoing process. And this ongoing process needs consistency, and it needs new responses and new informations. So in other words, when these symptoms scare me and when I react with more fear, then of course I'm producing more fear, and then I can't break the cycle, and it is a cycle. So our nervous system is responding to everything we think and everything we feel and how we behave. And as long as we behave that these symptoms scare us, it will continue to send these alarm messages, because we are the ones who are responsible to find new ways and new ways to react to these frightening symptoms. And to make it very clear, these symptoms, they can feel severe at times, they can feel unbearable at times. But the thing is, if you are in this cycle for a while now, and even it felt like just described, and never anything happened to you, it's really likely that it's nothing other than that. And that means it feels awful, but it isn't dangerous. It's just the way the nervous system wants to regulate itself again. There is this deep wish of regulation. But if our mind and our thoughts and our behaviors are constantly in this alarm state, in this state of rumination, in this way, in this state of trying to fix this whole thing, this state of running away from it, and all these defense mechanisms, then for sure we will keep staying in this state. And what I learned in this last couple of months is really to allow every state to be there and not trying to get rid of it, and to be more neutral in the way I think, in the way I react. And then slowly with time, you teach your brain that there's no threat anymore, and you think, act, and behave like that there's no threat anymore. And then to a certain point, the brain will eventually understand that there's, well, this guy, I'm sending these awful sensations, but he's responding in a calm way. He's not frightened anymore. He's not thinking about it so much anymore. He's doing things in his life more and more. And he's able to let the things be as they are, as scary as they are, but he continues to do the things he wants to do. And therefore, we send this alarm signals less often. And this is the way the nervous system can regulate, because we give space, we allow the space to, yeah, to, we allow that everything can act itself out. And the body is a very intelligent tool, and he knows what to do, he knows how to heal. And our job is to interfere less, at least. And but this is a quite challenging process, because we live in the, I come from a Western society, and I guess most of you listening to this as well. So we are used to get things done. We are used to fix things. We are used to solve the problem. We are used to be strong and go through difficult times. And this has some benefits, of course, but here this is a more subtle thing, and the subtle thing about it is that we learn to let things happen, let things go. We learn to be in unpleasant states, and we're not trying to find ways not to fight these unpleasant states. And this way of practice is regulating the nervous system, as I said, and it needs consistency, of course. And because from my perspective, it means that I always work on myself when symptoms are there. So in other words, in the beginning, like everyone else, I wanted to get rid of them, I fighted them, I ran away from them, and now I do the opposite. Is when they're coming, I'm going towards them, and I say, okay, I'm here, and you are allowed to be here as well. I give you space. I'm not hiding, I'm not running, I'm not tensing up. I'm allowing to relax my body as good as I can, letting my body as loose and limp and relaxed as possible, and then make the experience that come in my body. And it's just, as I said, it's something that wants to regulate. And if we allow this regulation inside the system to happen, and if we find ways to flow through these moments, yeah, for some people it's helpful to have images like, you know, like you're riding a wave. There's some turmoil in this system, and so we are not like in this inside the wave, and um, we are not drawn by this wave. We are on top of the wave, for example, and you're just riding the wave. So, in other words, you are not mastered by the sensations. You are not the victim of the sensations. You learn through this kind of practicing to be the master in your own house, even if the sensations are very unpleasant. And the more you practice this, the more the symptoms calm down, and you will surely find more peaceful moments again, and see that you are more able to handle it, and not only handle it, even learn to master it. And in the end, it's just the mind that was so excited and it was so scared. And these patterns of anxiety, they are old, and they are surely developed in very early stages of our life, in our childhood. And now it's on us to show this part of us that we are capable to manage these situations. We are able to stay calm. We are allowing this energy to come up. We are allowing these thoughts to come up. We are not fighting these thoughts, because that wouldn't work either. You can't fight your thoughts. You can't think your thoughts away. Let them be there. Let the negative thoughts be there. Let the scary thoughts be there. Give space to them, but don't fight them, and don't try to get rid of them. That never worked, because this way just makes them bigger and makes them more scary. Because if we avoid it and we don't want it, and we are scared and we are tensed, this is the way we keep the symptoms, and this is the way we keep the anxiety alive. And also we build thought patterns that are unhealthy, because when I'm in a scared and sensitized state all the time, it's clear that the whole system will stay in this alert state. So, yeah. So my latest conclusion is that anxiety is really what it's all about. As long as we are scared of what we experience, it will keep going. And this is all it is for me. And yeah, I really decided to make more videos about it, share more insights around this topic, anxiety, and the mechanisms of anxiety and how they work. And if you have a wish of any specific topic around it, please feel free to leave a comment, and I can create a video around it. And also, when you're looking out for some support and some help, I feel resilient and strong enough to give support on this. And I've worked on this for quite a while now, and so if you're curious to find ways to learn to desensitize your system, then you're welcome to leave a message. And also, when you look on my webpage, you can write me an email or call me. So I hope you're doing well, and I hope that this video is a little bit helpful. So I'm always happy to get comments, as mentioned, and also a thumbs up. And send it to someone who might need it, someone who is in this anxiety circle and don't know how to get out of it. And subscribe the channel if you want more content like this. So wishing you a good day and see you in the next video. Bye for now.